Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the Upper Tier Podcast, and this is your Premier League preview. Hope you're all having a fantastic evening after a torrential day of weather here in Ireland. Rain never stopped from morning to evening, still going right now as we speak. But if you are having a good week, make it a better week for us and head over there, smash that subscribe and bell notification button, and you will be doing us a great service. Joining me as always for a Premier League preview. This is a kind of our midweek catch-up one. These Premier League backlog matches are keeping us busy on the podcast. My main man, the Dazzler, how are we?
I'm all good, but how are you?
Not too bad at all. Appearing tonight in widescreen for the first time. Looking well.
There you go. How many cameras are on? The camera adds £10. Many cameras are on you.
It only adds £10 if you're in portrait, not if you're in landscape. It's all
okay.
In landscape, it stretches you. 4 games, I think, is it? 4 games we have to preview
there's 4
tonight?
tomorrow night. Yeah, that's right.
4 for tomorrow night. So we'll start off Norwich versus Chelsea.
Yeah, I suppose this should be a foregone conclusion, really, shouldn't it? But we know that these things don't always go to plan, so to speak. Norwich won the end of a heavy defeat the weekend against Brentford. Obviously, Ivan Toney getting back on the score sheet and getting himself a hat-trick. Chelsea, again, had a great weekend. You know, I suppose in the first half, they took a little bit of a battering from Burnley, but weathered the storm and really went on well and won comfortably at 4-0. So looking at it, you know, tomorrow night, this should be a pretty simple mark on your coupon. But it doesn't always go to plan like that, you know. And again, Burnley did play quite well in the first half of that game the weekend and created a number of chances. And I think if they could score early, Norwich, you know, I'm not saying they're going to get at now, but it might make things awkward for Chelsea. I know Chelsea had one of those days weekend where, you know, they hit a few and they all went in. They don't always happen for Chelsea, especially with the lack of striking power, you know, and goal power there with obviously the way Havertz and Lukaku are kind of flattering to the stave a little bit at the minute, you know.
Yeah, and we heard today as well, I think they've lost Reece James again, haven't they, for another 4 weeks apparently.
Have they? I actually didn't hear that.
Apparently, I heard that today, that apparently he's gone for either 2 to 4 weeks again. So might be
that's huge for them.
Maybe he came back a bit too quick, maybe that was the case, because I know he was rushed on at the cup final, really, wasn't he? It looked like it was very, very rushed.
I think it happens though, doesn't it? You know, you've got a player like that who's so influential over your team.
Yeah.
And when he's not playing, and when maybe you're struggling, because Chelsea had struggled a little bit for results and form and stuff like that, you try to shoehorn them in a little bit quicker than maybe they should. And but as so often happens, you rush them back too quick, they end up with another couple of weeks out. So,
and of course, when you're that talented and you're so young as well, you always want to play. So you're going to turn around and say, "Yeah, put me in there, Gaffer."
Absolutely, 100%. You know, and listen, he is a top footballer. Yeah, he really is.
Yeah. This should run out okay for Chelsea. I think Norwich, they might be able to keep it tight maybe for 20-25 minutes, but I think when you're coming off the back of a result like that Brentford one, I mean, that would have been one that they would have looked at and said, at least we can be competitive in this, maybe in around the same kind of level.
Absolutely.
Didn't pan out that way. So I think, absolutely. I think Chelsea, after about a half an hour, I think they'll grind them down a little bit, and then they should.
I think it might take a little longer, but I do think they'll grind them down, and I'm going to go 3-1 Chelsea.
Yeah, sounds about right. Southampton versus Newcastle.
Yeah, this I'm really looking forward to this one, to be honest with you. Like, you know, Southampton are obviously were in super form until they bumped into Aston Villa at the weekend.
Yeah.
Newcastle, one of the most informed teams in the country. You know, really, really have the ball rolling now under Eddie Howe.
Yeah.
You know, scoring goals, keeping things tight at the back and stuff like that. They're playing very, very well. And this could be a great game for the neutrals, I have to say.
Yeah. This looks like the pick of the games tomorrow night, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, the red and white stripes versus the black and white stripes. It's right or over stuff, isn't it? Stuff. But I think this is going to be a good game. I see there being goals, but I don't see there being lots of goals. You know, I could possibly see a 1-1, something like that. I think both teams will get the score sheet. I think it'll be tight. I think it'll be physical. I think the work rates will be unbelievable. I don't think there'll be tons of chances created. And I don't think either team tend to take lots of chances. So I think I'm going to err on the side of caution here, and I'm going to go 1-1.
1-1.
Because I think Ralph will have the lads, you know, back at it after the weekend, because he just doesn't accept those kind of performances, does he?
Although we've Newcastle on a bit of a run, haven't we? They're doing well, aren't they? Doing really well. I wouldn't be surprised. I think I tend to agree with you with a score draw. But I think it'll be an exciting game. I think there'll be a lot of chances, but both teams just aren't kind of clinical enough, if you like. I think if anything, I'm erring towards the Newcastle side at the moment, because I think Eddie Howe has the boys humming. They are on a bit of a run, but then you balance that out with going to St. Mary's, which is a tough place to go against Southampton, especially on a midweek.
Absolutely.
So yeah, probably 1-1 is probably a good call on it, isn't it?
I think so.
Wolves versus Watford. Wolves need to bounce back big time, don't they?
This is a big game for both sides, if I'm honest. Wolves definitely need to bounce back after the defeat to Arsenal, and then obviously with the defeat to Palace at the weekend, the way they went down was very un-Wolves, and Watford, Watford are running out of time, they're running out of games. They need to pick up results, and they need wins. Watford need a couple of wins. I would imagine this is a game that Roy Hodgson has kind of put a little asterisk beside to say, we could get something here for okay.
Probably only in the last 10 days to 2 weeks, though. I'd say prior to that, he was, because Wolves were on a run.
Yeah, they were, but they weren't on a run where they were scoring tons of goals. And Hodgson teams in general, it's defence first, attack later. As you know, as a Liverpool fan. So I would imagine they'd be quite comfortable thinking they might be able to hold Wolves out. Now, listen, it may not prove that way. And, when you've got the boy Neto and Potence and Trincao and Jimenez and all of these players, you're only waiting for someone to like to touch paper. But it hasn't happened like that always for Wolves this season. A lot of their wins have been kind of rough and ragged 1-0s or 2-1s and stuff like that. But again, they've been picking up results, so that's the most important thing. But I think Watford will think they might be able to get something for this, but I just think Wolves are going to have a little bit too much in the bank for them.
Yeah, I suppose it depends how much Watford can hold out, as you said, with that kind of block that Hodgson puts in there. But I looked at Wolves over the last 2 games, and we had mentioned on previous episodes, they looked a little bit tired, don't they? They look as if they've had a good old long hard season already, and they're still 10 games in it to go. You know what I mean? But they do look like they've ran a marathon or two, especially in that last game.
I think the nice thing for Wolves is they've got their points under their belt already, so this isn't a huge issue for them. If they were coming in here with 25 points with these 10 games to go, you'd be thinking, oh, these guys could be in trouble, but they're not. Yeah. They're very, very comfortable. I think they'll probably fall outside of the top 6, probably finish around about the 7th mark.
Yeah, maybe that thinking is more towards their opponents at the moment. If anything, they're looking over their shoulder big time.
Absolutely. I think Wolves will get this. I'm gonna say 2-1. I think it'll be tight. I think it'll be edgy. I think Hodgson will go in, try and defend and try and make a point, and maybe do something with the set pieces or play them on the bounce and stuff like that. But I think Wolves will have enough in it, and I'm gonna say our old friend that we've mentioned quite a lot in the last few weeks, obviously with him coming back into the side. I think we'll see the first goal of Pedro Neto's return tomorrow night.
Interesting. Good call.
I'm gonna go 2-1 Wolves.
Yeah, sounds about right. I think we're agreeing on a lot of these tonight based on what we've seen in the past few weeks. So it's not unusual. I'm thinking in around the same. All right. Leeds versus Aston Villa. It's going to be a feisty one, isn't it?
Yeah, this will be all action, won't it? This will be end to end, all action. I suppose looking at Villa at the weekend, Leeds a couple of weeks ago, you'd have thought Villa will maul them. How open they were and stuff. But obviously, they go away at the weekend to Leicester and put in a much better performance under Jesse Marsh. Looked a different side completely. Really did. Way more compact, closing the space down much better. Yet still attacking, still, creating stuff. Kasper Schmeichel, as we talked about, was probably man of the match at the weekend. So they were very, very good, but I still can't see past Villa, if I'm honest. I really can't.
Coutinho looks electric at the moment.
He looks he really does, and then you've got Ings and you've got Watkins, and then you've got the boy Ramsey and Keane, and you've lads to come off the bench, and Buendia and Bailey and Traore, and you're just like just so many of them. And again, I think Villa will have enough to kind of get themselves over the line. I think I'm going to go 3-1 Aston Villa.
3-1 Villa. I think it'll be a little bit tighter because I think the one thing we've seen with Villa this season is when they get into a bit of a dogfight with teams, they tend to kind of abandon a little bit of what they're about and they get dragged down into that kind of mire by teams and they find it a little bit difficult to get out of it. I mean, last week they were absolutely sublime. It was arguably the performance of the weekend.
Absolutely.
I suppose with the exception of City, I suppose. But I mean, Villa were unbelievable. Coutinho was unbelievable. Yeah, absolutely. I see you wearing blue there tonight.
Yeah. But just because it matches me eyes, though.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it'll be a little bit tighter. I think Leeds might keep this a little bit tighter. They're at home. The onus is on them. They need to start getting something out of games like this. I still think Villa will run out maybe 2-1 winners. I think it'll be a little bit tighter. Because I don't think Villa can put together 2 performances back to back like what they did at the weekend. So I think they'll come off that performance. They'll be boy out boy. But I think Gerrard will have them a little bit grounded to say, well, this is a different kind of proposition. These are guys who are starting to come back to find their way again. We'll have to be a little bit careful here. It's not who we thought we might have been playing maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. So I think probably 2-1. I think just a little bit tighter, but Villa running out winners. Yeah, so that's it. 4 games, nice and quick, nice and sharp, as they say.
In and out.
We do our homework.
Absolutely.
Well, if you'd like to drop your predictions, you know where to put them. Put them down there in the comments. While you're doing that, like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification. If you want to contact the show, the upper tier podcast at gmail.com. You'll get your usual audio stuff, Spotify, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, wherever you pick up audio versions of your show. We're out there on Facebook, Instagram, and you'll also get the clips out there on TikTok, the little teasers for the show that we put out there. As always, a pleasure as always, my friend.
Thanks for that.